Hey guys, I had a request recently for some more Zealot, and what I happened upon today, we've got Zealot versus Rich, who's spawning here in the top left-hand corner. He played against Flash in my last video. Was a great game, so I thought this would be a fun little series. We've got 2 games between these 2 players. We'll see how Rich handles the incredibly aggressive style of Zealot, opening with an overpool. See what he brings to the table. I haven't seen too much Zealot ZVP. I haven't casted a whole lot of it. A lot more interest in Zealot ZVT. He's so much more crazy, does a lot more all-ins and such. In ZVP, he has slightly more normal style, although he does go into crazy drop play a little bit more often than your normal player, and he seems to stick with layer tech more than most players. I see it more out of him than anybody, sticking on layer tech, just putting out tons and tons of lurker hydra, and then getting into drops a little bit later on, trying to get in there and finish off the Protoss before the game gets too big. It's not very common that I see Zealot go into a hive in this matchup. Much more common that we end up seeing him end the game, win or lose, before the Protoss gets onto 4 bases. 4 base Protoss is very hard to deal with. Now we've got Rich opening up with a Nexus and a Forge. Looks like it was Forge, then Nexus into Cannon. So he should be fine against this overpool. Cannon's going to finish up just before the Lings arrive. There were only 4 Lings made, 3 of them chasing the probe here in the main. Gas has been spotted. 1 Ling going to go across the map and just see that the cannon here is done. And so not really going to get anything done with that first Ling. Now in the main base, still being chased. Probe is staying alive, full HP on that. We'll be able to I think keep this alive long enough to see where the 100 gas gets spent, because once you pass a certain amount of gas, that's kind of funny. Once you pass a certain amount of gas, you can tell what the zerg build is going to be. Sorry. That got number has not been passed. But the Hydralisk Den was thrown down, so seeing the Hydralisk Den is going to give him a lot of information. Back in the base, looks like he's okay, this was Nexus first, actually. See, he skipped the second pylon, so he did go Nexus first and manages to get it out. That's going to give Rich a pretty decent advantage in this game, and the fact that he's already seen the Hydralisk Den, I'm liking his spot. He's done a good job. Usually I would see Zealot be way more aggressive with his Lings, trying to pick off the probe, but look at that, he loses the Ling that was chasing the probe as well. Oh, I'm not liking this, guys. This is looking a little bit dirty for our Zerg player. Looks like he's going to catch the probe, but the Zealot's going to come in towards this 3rd base. Hydras are starting to pop out. Hydra speed is on the way. Will he lose a drone? No. Good pull. Keep that alive. This drone could go down, though. Yeah, that's dancing a little bit too much. What? It got away. Oh, my drone dies there 100% of the time. Yeah, without fail, for sure. I'm gonna lose that drone. Probe looks like it's gonna go down. There it is. It does get picked off. I'm just gonna drive this Zealot away. 2 more cannons coming up in the natural. Will he continue to make Hydras? Yes, indeed. More Hydras are on the way. Maybe Zealot feels like he's backed into a bit of a corner. He's going to send the drones back to mining, and the Zealot comes back in. Oh my goodness, this is so frustrating. Oh my goodness, it's so annoying. Yeah. Yeah, hate to see it. Overlord gonna die as well. Horsehair out on the map already. Looks like he's gonna get almost supply block. Not quite, though. The Zealot has 1 kill on it. I think it was just the Ling, the initial Ling that was going across the map. The Zealot will end up dying. 3 drones heading back. He knows that it's an all-in. He knows that this is 3 hatch Hydra 973. When you see only 3 drones at the third, it's a dead giveaway. So he's just going to, you know, build as many Hydras as he can and just try to pop this. Cannons are finishing up. There's going to be 5 cannons done by the time Zelot's ready to dive in. This is what Zelot does very well. Lining up the Hydras really nice and tight so that he can get a good formation. He can gun down these cannons as quickly as possible. Let's see him go for it. Yeah, here we go. Diving on top. 1 cannon goes down instantly. 2nd cannon falls very quickly after. 3rd cannon goes down as well. So already he's done quite a bit of damage. 4th cannon gonna fall here. Look at how fast Zelot is at taking out these cannons. Wow, some damage there by the Corsairs is quite annoying. Losing a couple of Overlords, dropping down to 39 of 19. All right, Zelot has to win right here, right now, or this game will end. He's got to get in there. Oh, loses a Hydra before the fight even occurs. And those Corsairs are still flying around. Oh, diving in again. Gets 1 cannon. The 2nd cannon goes down, but only 4 Hydras left, and he can't build anything. He really can't build a single thing. There's already 3 cannons here, so yeah, this rush is over. He is gonna lose the forge, but 7 drones start. This is a terrible situation for Zelot now. Zelot not going to be able to win with this Hydralisk bust, and the follow-up is looking pitiful. Pitiful follow-up. He lost another Overlord. Ooh, it's so painful. Oh, it's so painful. Another pylon coming up. I'm making sure maybe this Artosis pylon getting him a bit worried. I probably want to put one over on this side as well. Yeah, not really a good idea to shoot down the Artosis pylon. I see only 200 HP on each of these cannons, but 600 HP. It's 3 cannons worth of health on a pylon, so unlikely you're going to be able to snipe one of those down. Get supply blocked again, and he just started Overlord, so all of this money you see here, not going to be able to throw that into anything worthwhile. He's making Lurker Aspect, which, I mean, he can't even afford to mine off his 3rd gas. I think he's just hoping that he's going to be able to get Lurkers out in time to hold whatever counterattack is coming, because that's really his only hope. He'll just be able to delay long enough to get some drones going, because he is so far behind. So far behind. It is painful. A +1 upgrade is on the way. +1 coming for the Protoss as well. He wasn't able to finish that single upgrade, so that's good. It's important. That could come into play later. This DT wants to slip out, but there is the Overlord here. Let's see if he can snipe this. If Zelot picks that off, that would be very good. Oh, gonna block it. Can he actually get it? Oh, it's so frustrating. I felt that one. I truly felt that one, guys. DT slips out with 18 HP. Just barely getting out onto this map, and he is going to be a massive thorn in the side for Zelot coming up. There's the first couple of Lurkers. If Rich pushes out right now, it's going to be so painful, but there's the first Lurker finishes, and I don't think we have a Robo. There's the Robo coming up. So this transition into immediate Lurkers is actually going to buy him a lot of time. Ooh, this first... Oh, can he get this? Can he get this? Oh, the drone, no! The drone goes down. 4 HP on that. So frustrating. Finally, he will get that down. Another drone should be sent up to take this 4th base here in a moment. Ventral Sacks coming up. Runs past the Lurkers. Just gonna go for a quick run out on the map. Kills the Overlord. Does lose one of his Corsairs, though. These Zealots are going to be searching around for an extra base. Maybe they can get a snipe. Maybe just run into the natural or run into the main. That could be really annoying for our Zerg player. 4th base is going to come up now. Some more Zealots running out on the map. Looks like they're going to get caught, though. Might end up going down. Looks like they will be able to run by. These Zealots making their way all the way around are going to head over towards this natural, but Hydras are on high ground already. just waiting for this, and he will be able to drive that back. Just the problem is this distractionary force is keeping a lot of these Hydralisks busy, and so they're not here in the natural, helping to contain the Protoss. So eventually this Protoss force, once the observer pops out, it's going to be able to drive everything back. Or these Zealots will be able to come in and deal damage, yeah. He's keeping some Hydralisks back. It would be so much better if he was able to keep, you know, 2 full groups of Hydras at the front ready to snipe down some Dragoons, but he just can't do that. He has to commit some forces to deal with this Zealot counterattack, and that's really the purpose of these Zealots out on the map. More Lurkers are going to be made. Dragoons are coming out in high number now. I don't think that we're going to be able to hold this position. Zealot is going to be driven away here in a moment. Unless he can snipe the Observer, he will not be able to snipe that. Just running forward at the end of this fight. Yeah, he has to cancel. That is so sad. Losing control in this game, nearly completely going in Rich's favor. He can do whatever he wants. Right now, he wants to go and prevent that 4th base, so he's going to make that happen now. Zealot Dragoon army is looking fearsome. +1/+1 is done. +1 attack is done on these Hydras as well. +2 on the way, but I don't think this force can be stopped. There's got to be some sort of counterattack. He has dropped, though I don't see any Overlords filled up with units just yet. He's going to come up here, get a counterattack going, try to draw the attention of Rich away for a moment. Maybe he can set up a lurker position over here while these forces are tied down over in top right. That might be possible. Still, the natural is wide open. Oh, there's a bunch of lurkers coming out. There's so many different places you have to defend here, to defend there, and over on this side. So basically here, here, and over this area as well, if you spread your forces out a little bit. That's a lot of defensive positions to deal with, and I don't think we have enough. So he's actually going to load everything up and go for the main base. Seems like Rich has figured this out, though. He's going to send most of his stuff into the main. Some of his stuff is going to come up here to prevent the counterattack, because that's exactly what Zealot is gearing up for. Here comes that drop into the main base. Is there enough stuff here for Rich? I think so. Enough stuff to defend the counterattack as well. Ooh, the storms are doing so much damage. He will be able to burrow, but the storms on these lurkers have softened them up so much that the Dragoons are easily going to be able to clean these out. Oh, this was a decent attempt by Zealot. I understand the idea. I think the idea was pretty good as a comeback. It could have worked nicely if Rich hadn't had his entire army in this main base ready to defend against it. He's got a little bit too much. And indeed, falling too far behind now. Zealot is looking for another desperate play, but I just don't see how any of these desperation techniques are going to bring him back into this game. He's starting to take some fights, and as you start to take these fights with low numbers of Hydras against big numbers of Dragoons, the trades get worse and worse. You really need to hit them with the full force of your army, or you have to outmaneuver them, get into their main, do a drop, or do counterattacks to make your trades worth it. You just can't do either of those now. Instead, he's going to take this fight. Zealots, or Storms on the high ground. Zealot's going to be ripping apart this army and pushing everything back. You can see that things are just getting cleaned up a little bit too efficiently now by the Dragoons. This counterattack is trying to come through over to this 3rd base, but Zealot knows the time is running out. Another drop potential. Big setup for an attack into this main base. 1 storm is available, but I think that even if he loads up, drops a whole bunch of stuff in here, and clears out a ton of this army, the counterattack will just kill him. This is such a big army now that's going to be bearing down on his natural. If he just goes for the natural, I don't think that Zealot will be able to survive. And I think that this drop may end up getting cleaned up easily. Yeah, it's coming through now. There's quite a few Overlords worth of units we funneled into the main, but again, there's a storm and quite a few Zealots. He sees the army in the main and decides against dropping in there. He's just going to back up, look for another opportunity. More Zealots coming into this 3rd base. There seems to be enough Hydras over here to potentially stop that. Oh, a lot of drops being picked up. He's going to run into the Dragoons. Uh-oh. Looked like he wanted to go for, I don't even know where those overlords were gonna head. He's thinking about dropping in. He's got a lot of Hydras loaded, but this is a terrible situation to find yourself in as a Zerg player. Like, there's no good place to unload. And most of your army is just sitting up in the air. He is gonna drop into the main, but this big counterattack coming across the map, I think, is just going to end him. Zealot has some stuff, but oh my gosh, he's even going to be losing some lurkers towards his rally. Got to get back up onto this high ground and maybe take a fight. Oh, Hydra's coming out. He's not respecting the counterattack. He's going to get in here and maybe deal some damage. He drops on top of the third and kills off the majority of the cannons, but there's still a few dragoons left, and this counterattack is undeniably huge. Although there's damage going down in the main base, and the third is taking some heat as well. This giant Protoss Dragoon Ball is basically unstoppable, especially with all the storms he's accumulated. And GG is called. Rich takes game number 1. Zealot trounced in this one. Had a bit of a struggle in the early mid-game. Just wasn't able to do the damage he wanted with his Hydra Bust, but you can see how scary the Hydra Bust is from Zealot. The way he controls his Hydras and his target firing is so perfect. He almost managed to bust through there, and he almost managed to make this a comeback as well, but you can tell that Rich knows his style. He knows who he's playing against, or maybe he doesn't, I'm not sure, but he is reacting perfectly to the threat of drops, and he knows what Zergs like to do when they start to fall behind, the kind of tricks that they can pull out. Let's see if he can still handle Zealot going into game number 2. Another overpull from Zealot this game. Getting prepared to pull out the same build as last time, but will he be able to punish what appears to be a Nexus first once again from Rich? It's cross map. Forge goes down. Okay, he's forced to do the Forge before the Nexus. I guess that's all right. 9 pool. It can be punished quite heavily. Or sorry, overpool, excuse me. Overpool can be punished quite heavily if you go Nexus and then Forge. I thought that you'd be able to get across the map with the Lings in time, but it seems like the cannon, or the cannons finish up just in the nick of time if you go Nexus, Forge, and then cannon. I think you might have to cut a probe or two, something like that. But you can see the Lings pop out just now. Easily he can get the cannon down before the Lings pop out with the Forge first, but I think it's just barely in time if you go for the Nexus first. Just barely. And your opponent doesn't even know where you are, so that's another thing to factor in, right? Zealot has no idea that Rich is down here in the bottom right, so he's going to send a Ling across now, but that's not going to arrive until the cannon is completely done. And so this Ling is going to be driven away. And Rich has walked that fine line, not as closely as maybe he could have, but he walked it pretty close. And so he is going to get into his macro play, whereas Zealot grabbing his 3 hatch and now a Hydra Den again, keeping the probe alive long enough. He sees where the gas is going, and he knows there is that threat once again of a Hydraless bust. But straight up Hydra bust right in the face of your Protoss player, Protoss opponent, when he already knows that that's what you have in store for him. Is that really the best play that we can come up with? Wouldn't it be better to maybe drone out of this? Maybe fake the Hydraless bust? Or go for a lair? Doesn't seem like Zealot's really interested in doing either of those things. Hydras are already on the way. 3 more drones are coming up, but it doesn't really tell you too much. Could definitely be another 973 out of him. Let's see, 2 drones. We've got 3, 4, 5. Probe still being chased. First couple of zealots have made their way across the map. There's a Hydra and 2 lings on the high ground. Not enough to deal with these 2 zealots, but maybe enough to kite them around for a little bit. More Hydras are about to pop out. Drones are gonna have to make a run for it. He loses a drone. Oh no. 1 drone going down already is not a good sign. These zealots are just going to bail out. Ling dies. I was chasing that probe. That's also unfortunate. Another Overlord making its way to the front. No doubt in my mind now that he's going to go for a Hydraless bust. 4 more Hydras on the way. What have we got in the natural? 6. 9, 6, 3 is what we can accomplish, what we can accumulate in terms of drones. He's going to try and pull the trigger on this, but that's going to leave very little leeway for any sort of switch out of this Hydraless bust. Like 973, you can barely afford to produce Hydras non-stop, and you really can't afford to tech switch or, you know, start droning out of that. With 963, it's an even worse situation. One Zealot wandering in towards that natural. Meanwhile, Zealot himself a little bit distracted with setting up this Hydra bust. It's like he might be able to just play keep away there with the Zealot. He's a little bit distracted by that right now, but we don't want to miss the dive in with the Hydras. That's going to come here in just a moment. Only 4 cannons are done. The gateway has fallen. Zealot lining up the Hydras. He doesn't want to go in until he's perfectly ready. Gonna have to execute this at the absolute top-notch play. Here we go. He's ready. That 1 more cannon does finish. The Zealots come out to body block. Ooh, he pulled back a second too early. One of that like he needed 1 more shot on that cannon, so he had to go back for it. Took an extra shot from the cannons because of it. Corsair already doing some damage. Maybe gonna pick off this Overlord. Losing the Overlord right now would be very painful. He needs to keep building units. He's building drones. Okay, he started drones. He's now supply blocked. Overlords are gonna get started. Actually needs more than 1 Overlord or he's gonna be in a lot of trouble. He was already almost supply blocked, and now he is totally behind in supply. He only starts 1 Overlord, and potentially 1 more is going to go down. Oh, no. I think that he's going to get supply blocked for a long time. A really long time. He should be starting like 3 Overlords. Evolution Chamber there in the main. He can't kill the Forge. +1 started, or +1 finished anyway. And so how do we play out of this kind of desperate situation from Zealot? 2 times in a row, he's just gone for the Hydraless bust, and it's not paid off either time. And he's once again in a very hard spot where Rich is undoubtedly ahead, and it is going to be a real crazy struggle to win. He's going to go for lurkers again. 52 workers to 31. An unenviable position for our aggressive Zerg player. He will be going into Pneumatized Carapace right away. And thus will be getting into drop, I imagine, once again, to try and pull Rich apart. Even from a deficit, it's possible that he can make the game crazy enough. He can sow enough chaos in this one to make it crazy enough that Rich sort of falls apart, but it's going to take a lot of work. Had he gone for this play originally, he might have had a better jumping off position. He might have had a little bit of a better situation to go into this, but he's going to work with what he's got. 40 drones is how much he can muster at this point. 40 drones is good enough to work with 3 Hatch Hydra, or 6 Hatch Hydra, excuse me. He wants to get a little bit higher though, if he's going to add a fourth base. Immediate robotics facility. Much quicker on the robotics this time. And gonna slide some zealots out once again. This is really good play by Rich. Totally understanding the situation, knowing that just getting some zealots out on the map is going to wreak havoc on this play that Zelot is trying to make work. Just the fact that those are out on the map is a real pain. It's like a splinter in the mind of Zelot. 3 lurkers once again. Just gonna be holding Rich in his base for the time being, but they can't last forever. These 5 zealots could come down to bottom left and actually kill that hatchery before anything can respawn. Luckily, this overlord's gonna spot things before that, so these hydras can head that direction right away. But I'm not confident that they'll be able to save that hatchery. The hatchery is likely to fall. Great surround there on one of those hydras. Looks like the hydra's gonna convince the zealots to take a detour, sending them around the bottom side and continuing along this path. Drop play indeed is going to be the name of the game. Trying to contain the Protoss player. Eats a big storm on the majority of his hydras. He'll probably make those into lurkers, at least the lower HP ones, because they're not going to be very helpful in a fight if they're that badly bruised already. Just making their way back up the map. Gonna defend against this Corsair. Looks like he'll actually get the Corsair, which is great. The Zealots are over at 12 o'clock, looking for an opportunity, maybe right as the army is pushing out, to run into the natural and try to get some kills. Dragoon's starting to push out now. Hydra's coming forward, looking for an opportunity to engage, but the Storms are going to convince them not to do so. Zealot's going to run by into the main base. All these Hydras are getting pushed back. Zealot's going to go for maybe an Evolution Chamber, maybe a Hydra Den. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like Zelot is too busy dealing with those. Let's kind of let go of this containment. Dragoons moving out in high number now. I don't think any of this stuff can actually fight with what's with this Dragoon force. None of these Hydras can actually fight with that large Dragoon number. Gonna go ahead and dodge that storm. Pretty good dodges there. This small drop is actually going to cause quite a problem for Rich. This is a big thorn in the side of Rich. He's losing a bunch of pylons now, and another load up's going to maybe potentially drop into this base. Trying to create an opening here. Still making more Hydras, pumping out a lot more Hydras. Getting a few drones, a little trickle of drones into the bottom left-hand corner. Up to 51 now. He can produce off of 4 bases. The number of drones he's produced, he should have the correct number of income to actually get this play going. Last time he wasn't able to get off the ground with this kind of crazy, oh my god, Queen's Nest. I'm taking a back here, guys. I was not expecting that. It's actually not 6 hatch on 3 base. It's 6 hatch now that the 4th base is down. He never built the extra hatch in the natural, which is interesting, knowing that he just wasn't going to be able to afford to utilize that. Drop into the main once again as the army starts to push out. There's a Templar here somewhere. There it is. Templar over here with 4 kills, dealing a lot of damage, slowing things down. He's got to snipe the Observer. The Observer. Oh, get it. Oh, get it. Oh, get it. Not going to get the Observer. That is unfortunate. Killing the Observer would actually delay this quite a lot. And that actually slows it down quite a bit. But instead, he's going to lose all of these forces. Zealots out on the map, being a bit of a threat. Looks like there's a slight counterattack over towards this base, but not really getting much done with that. Rich is going to hold on to this 3 base. However, some lurkers may be able to delay the probes transferring over here, so it's still technically a 2 base economy since Rich isn't actually able to mine off of this yet. And as long as he holds this high ground, he can maintain that. Lurker egg block on this ramp is going to keep the base in bottom left alive. These Zealots managed to slip out past the Hydras and They're gonna make their way over towards center left. However, more Hydras on this ramp. Lurkers holding this area. They're being absolute heroes. 13 kills. Wait, 12 and 13. Oh my goodness, I guess they caught some probes. I missed that there, guys. I will picture it to see where all of those kills came from. That is so many kills on just a couple of lurkers. They have done absolute hero work, and a great lurker egg wall over in center left as well, just keeping the Zealots at bay so that he can continue to deal this damage while keeping his third base alive. Oh gosh, he canceled the egg wall a little bit too early, it looks like. That is unfortunate. More load ups and another drop gonna come into this base. A little bit more work being done with those eggs to keep this base alive. Is Zealot actually doing it? I think so. He's managed to get a hive out and a Nidus down to bottom left. He has the upgrades pumping now, and he's doing another drop into the main. Nice storm there. Shutting this down pretty handily. Rich now on 3-2 upgrades is looking quite scary. Lings are just about to get their first upgrades going. 1-1, and Zergling speed is finally going to come online. I'm sure that that's a mistake. Antenna is not what you want at this point in the game. I actually have that upgrade on like P or something like that. I moved it way to the other side of the keyboard because it's super annoying when you end up spending money on that upgrade. It's quite an expensive upgrade. It's like 100 gas or something like that. And in a moment of panic, if you accidentally press that, but you need that gas, it can be super painful. You can see that upgrade, it will probably end up finishing, which is it's just not what you want at this point in the game. A fourth base gonna come up for Rich, but he is out of money on his main and natural, so he's technically mining on just one base for the time being. Lurker spread is looking good. +2/+1 is done. Lurkers down here at the bottom left as well, as another base starts to come up and online. Zealot is giving me a pleasant surprise here with this game. And not just trying to end things with the lair play. He's showing some confidence in going into the late game. After making things difficult for Rich with his crazy drop play and just buying himself enough time to get himself online, I think he's done a fantastic job with that. Only 49 probes, so definitely there was a big probe kill earlier. Again, I'll picture that, but all of these factors together are leading us into a pretty interesting game. Trying to push out right now, but the lurker spread is huge. And none of these lurkers are within one storm's range of each other. A dark swarm comes down. Okay. That is fantastic. Zealot creeping in right now, and he actually gets Lings over here to this base. Looks like probably a drop. Ends up killing this one cannon and pushing away some of these probes. Or actually, there's no probes transferred there just yet. Looks like they'll be transferred here in a moment. More cannons gonna come up at this base, but Rich is having a hard time getting his economy online. Gonna be transferring those probes over now. The fourth base is up, but the fifth is already down and mining for Zealot, who's actually accelerating ahead in supply. He's not quite in a lead just yet, but I think that's going to be coming soon. Pushing down towards bottom center. I think Rich needs to secure this base. If he can secure this base and prevent bases from going down in the top right, he's going to have a good chance. Great first plague. Oh my goodness. So many units got plagued. Even though the Templar can technically change into an Archon, and then that won't matter, it makes it so much easier to snipe them. It's crazy how much it helps for you to just be able to snipe these in a few Hydra hits instead of you know, taking a lot longer to kill. A lot of Hydras and Lings coming down here. The Sunken Colonies are not done yet, so he needs to buy time for this. These Lurkers need to be unburrowed. And to help with this defense, if Zealot loses this base, he's going to end up losing this game. He is going for a counterattack, however. Lings and Lurkers with the Defiler make their way over to that 4th base. He's going to take that out, no problem. I believe that's going to end up going down. Wait, that Nexus might actually survive. They've got some Dark Swarms and some Plagues on these units. More Lings coming up, but the Storms are still available. More Sunken Colonies are being made. Emergency Sunkens might just be able to save the day here. Hydras are being cucked by that Dark Swarm, working against him in this situation. The Sunken Colonies are going to finish up, and it looks like he'll just barely hold. Zealot will just barely hold this, I think. My God, I can't believe he hasn't brought these Lurkers down. This is a mistake that I used to make a lot. In a lot of my games, I would just leave those Lurkers out of position and not bring them in with the main fight, but it ended up losing me so many games, I finally stopped doing it. Looks like Zealot finally going to bring these down and maybe cut off reinforcements that are coming in, so that's going to be a big boon to this fight. But these Templar arrive just in time, and they're going to be able to storm these Lurkers down. If nothing else, Archon breaking in here, 18 kill Archon there, 20 kill Archon, 17 kill Archon. These Archons have done so much work. The Nidus Canal is still there, and some Hydras popping through, but oh my gosh, it's maybe not gonna barely be enough. This base is still taking damage. 7 kill Lurker. There's still Lurkers in the middle of the map that haven't been brought to bear to deal with this attack. Oh my goodness, he's actually gonna break it. Rich has done it. He's broken through. 25 kill Archon in this army. 21 kill Archon right there. Another base has gone up in the top left, and this base has been delayed significantly. A lot of probes have been pushed away, and he's been denied mining time from that area for a very long time. But it looks like it's finally time for Rich to get back on 4 bases, and he's still got that sizable Archon count. This is very important. We're lacking on Lurkers in this game. Not many Lurkers are left, and the Archon count is huge. These Archons are going to be able to push through, I think, in a significant way. They're really going to add a lot of value if he brings these back and joins them with his main army. And it looks like he will do so. Throwing down a Plague on this is kind of funny because there's no shields. And so the Plague is actually going to bring this pretty close to death, which I don't know if it's going to play a significant factor in this game. Maybe if he brings like some Hydras and drops them over here, maybe he could actually get in there and kill that. Oh gosh, the Archons come up and get on top of these Lurker eggs. This is not the way you like to go out as a Zerg player. You don't like to lose ever, but this is painful. The Dark Templar are getting so many kills right now. 4 or 5. Only 2 Lurkers managed to make it out of the eggs. A big counterattack is coming down right now for Zealot. Instead of going to save this base, he's just going to try his best to deny this location. Can he actually get in here and end this? Oh my gosh, the storms are too good. That is way too many storms, and GG is called. That final counterattack not going to be enough. Zealot almost brought this game back, but he played it a little bit wrong there, I would say. This attack down here had to be taken a little bit more seriously. Pulling all of these Lurkers to come down and defend this base, I think he may have been able to hold on to that. And while he was counterattacking into this location, he was pushing this away. That was really good stuff, but he needed to bring those Lurkers in the middle of the map to bear, and he just wasn't willing to do it. Very unfortunate game here for Zealot. I really like the way that he transitioned, though. Showing some class, some real skill. Actually, this 14 kill DT is so annoying here at the end. Let me check these Archon. 35 kill Archon. Yeah, that's fair. That's nice. Yeah, that 35 kill Archon. I mean, he was really, you know, controlled spectacularly well. You know, it wasn't like he just moved that in or anything. Anyway, guys, enough salt from me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little TVZ series. I'll see you in the next one.